Our first session today, acquiring the right talent inside and outside your organization, is led by Brett Tierney, Oracle VP of Product Management. Brett will share information on how organizations are finding external and internal hiring success by leveraging next-generation tools designed to deliver candidates with a modern, intuitive, and frictionless experience and drive internal mobility across the organization. Over to you, Brett.
Thanks, Pete. As mentioned, I'm Brett Tierney, and I oversee product management for Oracle Recruiting. And today we'll be talking about acquiring the right talent. And we'll be talking about that in the context both inside and outside your organization. We will be doing a little bit from a forward-looking perspective, so wanted to have a chance to just flash our safe harbor statement. So if you haven't seen it before, please take a read. All right, so onto the agenda. So we're going to be talking about three core areas. The first being the concept of candidates as customers. And we'll be talking about that in the context of the way that consumer expectations have influenced the way that candidates interact with hiring organizations. Second, we'll be looking into the way that organizations should be nurturing relationships with their talent. Again, not just focusing on external employees or external candidates, but also internal employees. And last but not least, we want to ensure that the concept of cultivating internal engagement is also top of mind, because all the things that we're talking about today oftentimes have a connotation from an external perspective, but we want to be sure that internal employees are also focused on, because they are oftentimes the source of incredible talent as well. All right, candidates as customers. So over the last 10 years or so, organizations have been really working with candidates to really understand what it is that they want in their experience as it relates to candidate interactions. And as we've done more and more research and talked with more and more customers, more and more candidates, we've noticed that a lot of commonalities exist between the consumer experience that many customers have when engaging with brands like, it can be Amazon, it could be PayPal, it could be, any number of different consumer brands and marketing brands, and the parallels that has with the expectations they have when they become candidates with those and other organizations. Some of the concepts are pretty self-explanatory, right? They're pretty basic as far as wanting to have personalization, right? They want to have information that's surfaced to them at the right time, at the right place, ready to inform their decision. And then making it very efficient and easy to conduct a transaction, to find the information that they need, whether it's looking for a product or it's looking for a job, and then being able to transact on that thing very easily. Things like PayPal have made it very easy to go through the purchasing decision, and many candidates want that same experience when they're applying to jobs. However, the experience oftentimes is a little bit more nuanced in what the expectations are. The first is some concepts around things like empowerment. So brands like Yelp have made it very easy for consumers to be able to voice what they feel is important, not important, the experience that they have. And the expectation is that organizations are looking and consuming that information and trying to improve. And when you look at things like Glassdoor, that's the exact same experience that candidates want when they're engaging with employment brands. In addition to wanting to have a voice and a level of improvement, they're also wanting authentic communication. They understand that processes won't be perfect every single time that they interact with the brand, but they're really wanting those engagements to be authentic. If a mistake is made, if something doesn't go as expected, it's very important to have an open and honest and transparent conversation. And that doesn't just apply to consumers, that also applies to candidates as well. And then finally, the concept of affirmation has become increasingly important. Organizations have spent a lot of time and energy providing information about their products, what it is that you're buying, not just how it works and what the benefits of a particular product are, but the peripheral aspects, the social, the environmental aspects that are important to the purchasing decision. And we're seeing more and more that candidates are wanting that level of information when they're deciding which organization they want to select and they want to move forward with. So all of these kinds of concepts, again, are things that we see an incredible amount of commonality between what consumers have grown to expect in the broader marketplace and what candidates are increasingly wanting when they engage with brands when they're looking for a job. Now, you may ask, hey, Brett, that sounds great. I can see kind of some of the anecdotal kind of parallels there, but how does this really tie to candidate experience? And so what we found in some of the data out there is that there's a lot of parallel, and really the majority of candidates say very common and consistent things. First and foremost, they say that the products and brands that they engage with as a consumer influences their desire and perceptions to work with that same organization, meaning that when you engage from a consumer perspective, what you like about that organization and the products they sell are really the same things that a candidate perceives as being available and part of the employment process if you were to join the organization. And that perception goes kind of the opposite of as well, that when you have a negative experience as a candidate, it influences your perception and your desire to tell others about that negative experience, even going so far as to say that the majority of candidates that have a negative experience with a company means that they have a dramatically less likelihood to actually use that company for the products or services they provide. So as such, Oracle has taken a lot of these data points and from the ground up has focused a lot on delivering truly engaging candidate experiences. We spent a lot of time and energy and continue to build out functionality related to these types of personalized and targeted experiences, whether it be landing pages, custom content pages, to ensure that the message is getting out, not just about what jobs you might be looking for, but the broader context of the organization, because that's just as important for many candidates when they're deciding which jobs to apply to. The other aspects of our compelling and engaging consumer-grade candidate experiences is focusing also on the ability to have calls to action that aren't just about applying to a job. Things like talent communities and native candidate relationship management is also a key aspect to having some alternate paths that candidates can go down if they're not ready to apply to a job. And then last but not least, making sure that the true call to action, the conversion process of having a candidate apply is frictionless. It is consumer grade, very, very easy and simple to do, and really leverages all of the same constructs that are common in the broader consumer marketplace, including engaging with SMS and technologies like that. Now, the second topic I wanted to talk about was around nurturing relationships. So as we all know, every candidate is not necessarily actively looking for a new opportunity. Oftentimes, they're doing investigation. They're kind of poking around. They're seeing if an organization might be something that it provides a level of interest that they may want to keep an eye on. So it's important to be able to very quickly capture information and be able to nurture and build these relationships over the entirety of the decision journey that a candidate goes through, all the way from the point that they're simply kind of doing some very initial research, all the way to the point that they're ready to accept an offer. So some of the tools that organizations have used is kind of the concept of not only building and communicating their employer brand, but also being sure that the concepts and tools around marketing are focused on the recruitment aspect as well. So taking things like campaigns and different methodologies that consumer marketing organizations leverage and pointing that towards the recruitment space. And again, because many of these candidates are viewing their relationship with organizations in the lens of a consumer, making sure that some of these powerful marketing capabilities are also in the hands of recruiting organizations to be able to kind of achieve the expectations that are out there. Now, when building these relationships, there's kind of three core areas that we think organizations should focus on. The first is around targeting communication, being sure that the right information is available to the right user at the right time. So that's increasingly important because many complex organizations are hiring for all different types of people. Your brand and what is the value of joining an organization is different based on who you're talking with. A mid-year professional versus an executive versus someone just coming out of university may have very different needs, and being able to communicate with them in a way that really resonates with what they're needing is absolutely critical. Furthermore, it's important that these interactions are personalized. Being able to leverage the information that you have about the individual is key. Everything from basic contact information and greeting, to the skills, to the experience, to the education they might have, in addition to the things that they might be trying to do. What are their career aspirations? What are they really trying to accomplish when they join an organization? And bringing that into the conversation, whether it's something that's being done at scale through something like campaigns, or a much more individualized interaction that a sourcer or recruiter might be having. And last but not least, it's critical that these interactions are supported by modern technologies. Everything from digital assistants and chatbots, being able to have conversational interactions with candidates, whether it's on a career site, whether it's in social media, whether it's in internal professional tools. All are extremely important, and it's very, very important that not only do you have those conversational capabilities, but you're also leveraging adaptive intelligence and machine learning and a multitude of other capabilities to make sure that those interactions are as modern and seamless and scalable as possible. So as you can expect, this is a kind of a set of themes that Oracle has spent a lot of time thinking about and building functionality around. And this is where our campaigns and candidate relationship management tools being built from the ground up and being purpose-built for recruiting has been very important to us. So things like the candidate talent pools, being able to campaign directly to those individuals, leveraging rich multimedia to create a much more dynamic interaction paradigm are also super important for our current capabilities, and also some things that we're building out into the near future. Again, with the sole intention to be sure that we are hitting individuals with the right level of information that resonates with them no matter where they are in the process of joining an organization. And last but not least, we want to be sure that we're thinking about this in the context not just of external talent. Many of these tools for years and years have been thought about as purely things that need to be focused on engaging and bringing people from outside the organization in. However, many of the more cutting edge and best practice organizations use those same tools and point them inside their organization to cultivate better engagement and to really make sure that they're getting maximum value out of their employees. And it's super, super important to do that. And why is it so important are kind of across the board. So everything from being able to have an amplification effect for the type of hiring that you're doing. Engaged employees are dramatically impactful in making that happen. It's also very important to be able to have engaged employees that are loyal to your organization. They're willing to stay and retain their employment for longer. In addition to being able to have the motivation to want to innovate and save costs for the organization, all provide very tangible value of that level of engagement that truly powerful organizations have with their employees. And so Oracle definitely has been kind of tracking this trend for many years and has lots of capabilities in the product today. The one that we're most excited about right now is the concept of the opportunity marketplace. This is something that Oracle launched not too long ago. We're in the process of deploying it to some controlled availability customers, and it'll be finding its way to kind of the broader customer base in the near future. And really what this is it's a tool that helps employees be able to explore growth opportunities, look at the different options within the organization to build their skills, gain new experiences through a multitude of different ways, not just about changing jobs. And this allows organizations to kind of leverage different types of engagements to be able to not only gain that level of kind of satisfaction with your employees, but also make sure that you're meeting the short and long-term hiring and resourcing needs within your organization. And of course, being able to do that with a very innovative engine of best practice technologies. And as part of Opportunity Marketplace, one of the most exciting things that we're introducing is the concept of gigs. So this is a much more kind of limited in duration. It's a temporary opportunity that doesn't have all of the overhead and complexity of kind of formal HR transactions like changing a job or transferring across organizations. And really is focused on having something very lightweight to be able to, allow a project to be kind of spun up, tasks to be conducted in a very short-term kind of fashion that can help engage employees, meet particular project needs, and allow employees to be able to gain important skills and experience that not only can they use in their current role or potentially as they look to find other opportunities within the organization. And last but not least, of course, the concept of Opportunity Marketplace is starting with gigs, but it certainly will grow from there. Everything from the more traditional job transfer capability to doing some more innovative things like volunteering and mentorship opportunities, innovation jams, unstructured time. You can kind of see the multitude of different ways that Opportunity Marketplace will grow to enable a broader career mobility. So this is an area that we're extremely excited about. We think that it will definitely help with that level of engagement and being sure that you can attract not only the right talent from outside the organization, but also be sure that you're best leveraging the talent that you have within your organization. So that's what I have prepared, Pete. So if you want to take it away from there, thanks everybody for your time.
Thanks, Brett. It's always insightful to hear how organizations are engaging applicants, nurturing candidates, and facilitating career mobility.